Welcome back to the Sports Wrap, joined now by Dr. Paul Fadale of University Orthopedics. He joins us throughout the season to update us on the Patriot injury front, and now approaching the opener just a week from tomorrow. We want to have your insight on a couple key issues here. Julian Edelman has a leg injury, and Brandon LaFell is working on a foot injury, but kind of a bigger question when a guy like Edelman, they just say leg injury, like in hockey, upper body, lower body. Obviously, they don't want to have too much information out there to the public, but you've worked with teams in the past. Does Bill Belichick come up to you and say, hey, we're not saying what this is, but obviously he gets the details from you as the doctor?
Oh, absolutely. We don't want anyone knowing what's going on, because if you have a pulled hamstring or something like that, teams can mark out how long that's going to take. You're a receiver, how slow you're going to be, and they can start devising plans around that. You don't want to give that information up at all. And the second thing for these athletes, you don't want to be a target. So you don't want to tell the other team, this is out or that's out, because they will target you and they will push you to your weak spot and you will fail. So we get this nebulous upper body, lower body, we don't really know, and that's exactly what they want.
All right, James Develin, former Brown Bear, he's out for the season with tibia. There were some reports initially 6 to 8 weeks. What do you think happened on that front?
So I watched the videos a couple of times, and it didn't look like a horribly bad injury. And they came out with a tibia, and some of us questioned that, but they said 6 to 8 weeks, and it's probably a lower ankle sprain or maybe a fibula fracture. But once they confirm tibia fracture, that's the big bone in your leg, and that has to have plates or screws or most likely a rod put down there.
Okay.
If a rod is pounded down there, then it's not likely James will come back that fast, because his fracture will heal in 6 to 8 weeks, but he's not ready to come out of that backfield. He's going to rehab his leg, so it could take a little bit longer.
Okay, cornerback Darryl Roberts out for the year with a wrist injury. Now, as a cornerback, you're not catching the ball a whole lot unless you're intercepting it a lot, but is this something he probably could have played with?
Well, that was a little bit surprising to me, because when we have our cornerbacks, that's exactly right. They're just batting balls down, and their game is their speed. So all you have to do is get your hand up in front of the receiver. So they play often with broken bones in their wrist, distal radius fractures. If they're minimally displaced, even with some surgery, they come back very quickly. So it was a little surprising that I heard that he was out for the year. So he may have had some major reconstructive surgery.
Now, tight end Rob Gronkowski is yet to play in a preseason game, probably won't play tomorrow night. You always tell me year 2 is the year you're back to normal after the ACL. He was pretty good year 1 after the injury, so you expect Gronkowski to be even better this year?
Well, his statistics may not get better, because what a year he had, but you ask those athletes, I feel better. So the fan says, well, his numbers were down, he wasn't as good. He will feel better, and people are wondering, why aren't they throwing to him? Why are they not, getting some passes to him? You could argue, what does he have to prove out there right now, and why do you want to be taken out during a preseason game? So I think structurally, he will have a good year. The numbers may not be there, but his knee will definitely hold up.
I want to ask you a big picture question. A lot of injuries during this preseason for NFL players throughout the league, a lot of them coming in preseason games, but the league has curbed the amount of practices you can have. So ultimately, how do they manage practice in game time? Because it seems like the same amount of injuries are going on either way.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Bigger, faster, stronger. So when you get these guys out there, practice or a real game, they're going to get injured. And the injuries are piling up because they're getting bigger, faster, and stronger. So they try to legislate down exposure time. At some point you can. It's a contact sport. And so really what they have to manage is the 16 games and playoffs, who's standing at the end of the season, which is a very different philosophy for the coaches. So a lot of them have pulled back from the pounding during some of these preseason games and practices.
You've been in this business a long time. Obviously, concussions at the forefront here in the NFL. There's a Hollywood movie coming out addressing the topic. How has head trauma kind of become even more important than all of the body issues that you deal with as a doctor?
Well, we tell people you can't fix the squash. You can't do that. If you take a big head injury, it is so unpredictable, your recovery. And what's really great, I have not seen an athlete, a coach, an organization that's not all in on this. So sometimes we want to test the manhood of a collision athlete. For head injuries, I have never heard that. Everybody's all in on this because I think everybody understands. If you miss this or don't treat this seriously, the long-term repercussions are devastating. We can always fix a knee. We can always reconstruct a shoulder. boy, if you have a brain injury, you can't fix it. So it's refreshing to see that athletes and coaches and organizations are buying in on this to protect these kids.
Maybe a different scenario 10, 15 years ago, you just got your bell rung, go back out in the field.
Oh my God, it was so different. It was unbelievable, especially it seems in hockey, where it was almost a testament that you would have a concussion and it made no difference, you went out. Bruins locker room, they protect those athletes. It is extremely refreshing to work with the coaches.
All right, Dr. Paul Fadale, experience with the Bruins and Brown football. Appreciate the insight.
Thanks.
Much more from the Sports Wrap coming up right after this.